Hey guys, there is a video of that Quebec woman that was questioning Justin Trudeau during his August 16th visit in Quebec, and it's made the round of the internet by now. And at this point, wherever Trudeau goes, he just gets heckled. He gets called a POS, like when he called that widow from the slain civilian in the mass attack in Fredericton a few weeks ago. The widow called him a POS, and she would do it to his face if he showed up in person. So I really hope he sees the discontentment across the country and that his ego is taking like a huge hit. So anyways, now the whole "there's no place for intolerance here" spiel is nothing more than an expression from a series of canned expressions that Trudeau uses when he's confronted. The entire suite of expressions is completed when he says, "There's no place for racism here," and "this is not the time or place for this." So he essentially rotates through all three expressions anytime he's heckled. He doesn't even care what the heckler is heckling about. And half the time he doesn't even seem to hear the heckler. He'll just spew out one of those three sentences. He's used these expressions during his town halls, during visits in Quebec and Toronto and Vancouver. So I want to go over today why he says that and bring your attention to an even more alarming situation. So let's start with why he says those things. There are two goals when he says that. The first one is the more funny one. It's the more virtue signaling. Like, he just can't help himself. He is the virtue signaling king. He just can't skip an occasion. So virtue signaling is the first one. The second reason, which is also the most important one, is that he's doing this for votes. He answered an economic question last week with "there's no place for racism here," and it makes no sense at all. So it's obvious, I mean, to me at least, that it has nothing to do with actually answering the question or even addressing the concerns of the heckler. It's a clear message to Canadian when Trudeau uses one of those expressions, and this is what the message is. It says, "I want votes. And I know I have no chance with the old stock, tax-paying Canadians, so I'm willing to betray some of you in order to secure the votes with all the newcomers." He's showing the refugees, the illegal immigrants, and the inflated number of legal immigrants that we have now that he's bringing into Canada, that he is on their side, and he's going to defend them and their interest, not the interest of the traditional Canadian society. This is purely about getting votes. He doesn't actually care about racism. There's no racism in Canada, not institutionalized anyways. Nor does he care about tolerance. Just think about the intolerance he showed the Catholic businesses who refused to get in line with his abortion stance. He really only wants votes. And I think a more proper answer to any heckler in a civilized society would be something along the line of, there are decisions that were made that aren't always popular, and I'm happy to discuss this. Let's set aside a few minutes to go over all these issues while I'm here today. That kind of answer is great. Even if you don't really address these issues, just tell people that. Anyways, that's what a great leader would do. But we all know Trudeau's not even a leader at all. So anyways, let me interject here with a quick thing on immigrants before I get more spicy comments in the comment section. I am not against immigration. Most of my friends are first or second generation immigrants, and these immigrants are also upset with mass migration, not only for the obvious reason that they've put in years and tons of their own money to become citizens, but also because many of them fled socialism. Their parents, they fled, like the Ukraine, they fled USSR, and they don't want to see that shit come here. So there are lots of immigrants here who are working hard, have assimilated, and are now watching Canada go down the same socialist path their parents fled, and they're trying to warn us. So there, I'm not anti-immigration. I'm anti-illegal immigration, and I'm anti-mass migration because it's impossible to properly assimilate, and it puts too many financial burden on the actual taxpayers. Okay, cool. What's more alarming to me then is how Trudeau, than him actually insulting the citizens by using his stupid expressions, is how he has them stopped by the RCMP or the police afterwards. It's a pure intimidation tactic, and I wonder what happens to these people after. I mean, do they get charged or threatened? Do they get a surprise tax audit the next year and get jailed for something small they find in there? Do they suddenly lose their job? I mean, if the heckler is a young guy, will they accidentally put some kind of a criminal record in their file and as a clerical error? And then as soon as they get turned down for the job, they'll say, "Oops, we made a mistake," and they take it down. Like, since the Liberals have been in power in 2015, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they would do something like this. And that's what we have to pay attention to. There's growing discontentment amongst the taxpayers, and they're brave, these hecklers, far braver than I am. So kudos to them, and I hope we see more of them. And I will see all of you in the next one, guys.